Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera. Berjumpa lagi kita dalam Sejahtera Asia bersama dengan saya Jonathan Ding dan Jessica John. Hari Rabu 30 Disember 2020 bersiaran langsung di TBS Astro saluran 122 selama 1 jam. Dan ya, pada pagi ini saya bersama dengan Jess. Selamat pagi Jess, apa
Selamat
khabar?
pagi John, bagus, baik. Ya, elok saja.
Wow, elok saja. Semalam
Suka tidur.
macam bergembira dekat Media Night Sarawak
John
Tourism
pun
Board.
sama juga, John. Siap menang
Saya
Best Awards lagi.
best
Lucky
dress
draw
tau.
lagi. Wow.
Rezeki anak. Oh, rezeki anak anjing. Okeylah, apa-apa pun seperti biasa, terima kasih kami ucapkan kepada anda sebab menonton kami dan menemani kami di Sejahtera Asia. Pastikan anda menonton kami sampailah di penghujung rancangan. Baik, seperti biasa kami akan mulakan dulu dengan berita ringkas dan perkembangan COVID-19 di Malaysia. Baik, semalam Malaysia mencatatkan 1,925 kes baru menjadikan jumlah kes positif COVID-19 di Malaysia adalah sebanyak 108,615 kes. 1,123 kes sembuh direkodkan semalam menjadikan jumlah kes sembuh 86,715 kes. 2 kematian direkodkan semalam dan jumlah kes kematian adalah seramai 457 kes. Kes yang dirawat di unit rawatan rapi 117 dan yang memerlukan bantuan alat pernafasan 55 kes. Dan mungkin Jess boleh kongsikan perkembangan COVID-19 di Sarawak.
Okey, perincian COVID-19 di Sarawak pula. Sarawak semalam telah merekodkan 4 kes positif baru COVID-19 dan kes telah dikesan di daerah Kuching sebanyak 2 kes, Sibu 1 kes dan 1 lagi Betong. Dan ini menjadikan kes meningkat kepada 1,114 kes. Tidak hanya itu John, 4 PUI baru direportkan semalam dan harapan kita bahawa keputusan itu nanti negatif. Manakala 2 kes baru telah sembuh dan menjadikan jumlah keseluruhan kes sembuh meningkat sebanyak 1,064 orang. Ringkasan kes mengikut daerah di Sarawak, Kuching, Sibu, Bintulu, Lawas masih lagi berstatus kuning dan 36 buah daerah lagi berstatus hijau, John. Jadi semoga cepat-cepat kita putuskan rantaian COVID-19 ini ya, John.
Betul.
Dan nak masuk tahun baru dah tak terasa dah, John ya.
Kan. Tapi itulah kita sebab benda macam ni kita kena bekerjasama untuk memutuskan rantaian COVID-19. Okey, baiklah. Berita seterusnya. Langkah ketat Sarawak dalam menangani penularan COVID-19 mendapat perhatian Ketua Pengarah Kesihatan Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah. Beliau menyifatkan langkah tegas dan berterusan Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak menerusi Jawatan Kuasa Pengurusan Bencana Negeri Sarawak JPBNS telah memberi kesan yang amat positif. Seperti yang memang betul, Jess. Seperti yang kita lihat dekat Sarawak, kes penularan kes COVID-19 di Sarawak memang terkawal.
Betul,
Walaupun dalam minggu ni kita ada laporanlah mengenai kes import dan sebagainya, tetapi penularan kes tempatan adalah masih lagi terkawal dan kita harap ia akan terus begitu supaya kita boleh meneruskan hidup kita seperti sedia kala. Jadi tahniah kita ucapkan kepada JPBNS. Dan Jess, mungkin ada berita seterusnya yang Jess nak kongsikan.
Baik, Jess nak kongsikan berkenaan dengan kadar penginapan di hotel seluruh negara dijangka terus meningkat tahun depan apabila pelaksanaan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Pemulihan PKPP dijangka berakhir ujung tahun ini, John. Dan Pengarah Kanan Domestik dan Acara Tourism Malaysia Amar Abdul Ghaffar berkata, agensi itu menyasarkan peningkatan sebanyak 20%. Dan antara penyumbang peningkatan itu nanti adalah pelancaran pakej istimewa cuti-cuti Malaysia bagi penjawat awam pada September lepas yang telah diberikan kepada penjawat awam. Jadi itu adalah salah satu yang untuk menggalakkan orang ramai khususnya penjawat awam bercuti dalam negara.
Betul.
Namun beliau turut mengingatkan pengusaha hotel dan resort supaya sentiasa melakukan proses nyah kuman bagi meningkatkan keyakinan pelancong menginap di premis mereka, John. Dan ini sedikit sebanyak berkaitan dengan topik kita pada hari ini, John. Betul tak?
Betul. Cakap pasal hotel ni, Jess rindu tak nak duduk dalam hotel?
Yang penyumbang utama tu nanti kita dua lah, John. Menginap dekat hotel.
Lain macam bunyi.
Bawa keluarga.
Okey.
Taklah, bawa keluarga. Lama tak pergi bercuti kan, John?
Kan, sebab jika semalam kita berbesar hati, ada Yang Berhormat Menteri Datuk Seri Hajah Nancy Shukri bersama dengan kami semalam dan kita berkongsi sedikit antara inisiatif Kerajaan Malaysia untuk meningkatkan lagi industri pelancongan sebab akibat COVID-19 ni industri pelancongan adalah antara industri yang paling terkesan. Dan pada pagi ini kami akan kongsikan antara tetamu kita pada pagi ini akan kongsikan bagaimana hotel dekat Sarawak ni khususnya dapat adaptasi dengan norma baru dan meneruskan lagi perkhidmatan mereka sebagai hotel ataupun service provider. Okey, jadi semuanya selepas ini hanya dalam Sejahtera Asia. Jadi jangan tukar siaran, jangan ke mana-mana. Jumpa selepas ini.
If you only had a day in Kuching, where would you go? Would you go beyond the familiar? Would you explore further? Would you discover traditional trades and embrace the craftsmanship? Where all trades thrive over generations of makers. Would you explore a city where past legacies are visible in heritage and culture? Would you measure your day in your own heartbeat or by moments that take your breath away? Discover an adventure, to be curious, to explore timeless history, and be captivated by a crossroad of cultures where the river connects as well as nourishes. Where various ethnics coexist in harmony with differences, yet seeking common ground. Decorating the streets and back alleys of Kuching. Would you taste unforgettable palate delights, where the best dishes are our street food? Go stroll at the markets for exotic finds, like the Rebong Shoots, Sour Terung Asam, and popular Midden Foods. Would you walk through places of worship to learn centuries worth of wisdom, to expand your horizon and perspectives from sacred, spiritual sites across faiths? Would you make a variety of colorful memories? And embrace the beauty of traditional heirlooms? Or take the time to browse for modern goods, where international brands are welcome? You savor the fresher seafood and local side dishes served with a smile, where each menu comes with an explosion of flavors. to soothe every taste bud. Would you make friends with the people and turn strangers into friends? This is the homeland of unity, diversity, and serenity. This is Kuching City.
Kembali lagi bersama dengan kami dalam Sejahtera Asia. Terima kasih kepada anda yang masih lagi setia bersama dengan saya John dan juga Jazz. Baik, jika semalam kita bersama dengan Yang Berhormat Menteri Datuk Seri Hajah Nancy Shukri berbincang mengenai industri pelancongan di Malaysia dan juga antara inisiatif-inisiatif kerajaan Malaysia untuk memulihkan lagi industri pelancongan, dan pada hari ini juga masih berkaitan tetapi kita dengan lebih mendalam ke industri perhotelan, dan kita nak dengarlah antara bagaimanakah pemain industri adaptasi dengan norma baru. Jadi untuk pagi ini tetamu kita adalah Datuk Steve Ng, Pengarah Urusan The Waterfront Hotel Kuching. Datuk, selamat pagi.
Morning.
Welcome to Sejahtera Asia.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okey, Datuk, kita sudah pun di penghujung tahun 2020 dan pelbagai cabaran telah pun dilalui berikutan dengan COVID-19, dan antara industri yang paling terkesan adalah industri tourism industry.
Right.
Dan Datuk sebagai pemain industri, as a industry players, especially in the hotel, we want to know apakah antara your strategy then and of course like how quick that actually Datuk as the hotel adapt to the new normal.
I think when the first MCO was announced, we were optimistic because, but of course very concerned. We immediately did a full assessment of all our businesses because we also have the shopping center, which also is a tourism industry component. And what we did was we continued to do that assessment throughout the MCO because the picture in the first month is very blur. You cannot see what is a strategy going forward. I have to be honest. Tapi closer to the end of MCO, engagement with Tourism Sarawak, our minister, sama the ministry, and also with macam Bank Negara, and also with our financiers like SME Bank, we form a picture. And of course, with the latest news, I think by around 5 months into COVID, we have a view that we have to make sure we can manage until middle of 2021. Okay? And I have to say, so far, it has been better than expected. Okay. It is difficult, tapi difficult for us, difficult for everybody in the tourism industry. But for Kuching, I can say that it has been better than expected. And that is something which was a bit of a surprise to us. Part of the reason may be also is our tourism minister and the ministry has been very proactive. They've come up with all kinds of programs, met with a lot of skepticism by tourism players like me and our colleagues. But most of them have actually worked quite well, and because if you cannot travel,
Yeah.
you end up going to different places. Like for example, you go Buntal, right? Every weekend jam, so that is going forward now.
Yeah, okay, that is one of the alternative or the strategies, okay. But we want to know what is the actual challenges actually when you operate the hotel industry under the new norms, maybe in terms of the list of the.
We have been
challenges.
fortunate dalam Sarawak sebab SDMC has done a very good job with managing the crisis. The numbers have, for the most part, been kept under control. And what we found is, as soon as it's under control, our numbers pick up very quickly. So what it tells us is this: our industry dalam Sarawak, while it is not, people talk about Sabah and all these places being very, very, tourism is booming. Sarawak is so far behind.
Yeah.
In a way, it's true, but at the same time, we have a low base. We have not boomed yet, So in that sense, we depend a lot. Most of our business is intrastate
Okay.
and interstate, not international.
Yep.
So in that sense, that is why we can see that I think our recovery will be much faster, because we will go back to our normal much faster than other places that is dependent on international tourism.
So like for example macam Sabah. Sebab Sabah, kalau tak silap saya, mereka banyak bergantung kepada pelancong daripada China, Korea dan international. Dan Datuk juga cakap kat Sarawak dia lebih senang untuk recover sebab
Interdistrict, intrastate. Sebab Sarawak besar kan, Miri Kuching is tourism dah, Kalau di Semenanjung, Johor pergi Penang is tourism. So, our state is so big, and our industry has not gone through overbuilding phase. I'm not saying that Sabah is overbuilt. Sebab they themselves are saying that they are looking at 3 years to recover. I think we would probably be back to almost normal 2022 first quarter.
So kita harapkan yang terbaik lah. We just wish for the best, and
Yes.
the earlier the better.
Yes, of course.
Ramai yang suka melancong dan suka duduk hotel ni sebenarnya, Dok.
Semua rindu nak melancong saya,
betul.
tapi apakah daya kita tak boleh nak pergi mana-mana. Tapi ya, selepas ini kita akan berbicara lagi lebih mengenai topik ini, iaitu industri mengadaptasi dengan norma yang baru. Jadi kita akan berehat sebentar. Kita jumpa selepas ini hanya dalam Sejahtera Asia.
Bersama kita bersatu hati, budaya dan bangsa. Tak kira siapa, kita duduk semeja. Ini tanah kita, ini tempat kita. Ayo anak muda, kita terus bansang seperti kenyalang di angkasa terbang. Negeri aman damai, Sarawakku sayang. Sudah tiba, misi dan visi pasti kita teruskan bersama. Bagi kebangkitan belia negeri tercinta, ekonomi digital, sarana CM kita. Satu hati, satu jiwa, satu rasa, satu bangsa. Semangat anak Sarawak tidak kira di mana-mana. Bunyi kenyala, kebanggaan kita di mata dunia. Demi Sarawak ku serahkan segalanya.
Apa yang pandai-pandai mana Sarawak, si pandai Sarawak. Sampai New York, Mia kita nang bermandai. Jangan dicabar anak Sarawak. Masuk botnya.
Kembali lagi bersama kami di Sejahtera Asia dan kepada anda yang belum lagi mengikuti laman sosial kami di Facebook, Instagram, jadi anda boleh type saja Facebook dan Instagram ya. Type saja Sejahtera Asia dan anda boleh cari kami di sana. Dan kepada anda yang terlepas juga rancangan kami sebelum ini boleh pergi sahaja YouTube kami, type sahaja Sejahtera Asia. Baik, okey, hari ini kita bersama dengan tetamu kita hari ini. Jadi kita akan berbicara lebih lanjut ya, tadi kita dah berbincang berkenaan dengan strategi, alternatif dan juga dia punya challenges ya. Jadi kita dah tahu juga sebab kita tahu lebih 30,000 orang di dalam industri perhotelan di seluruh negara hilang pekerjaan dan lebih 10,000 dicutikan tanpa gaji dan lebih lagi 6,000 pekerja dipotong gaji. Ekoran aktiviti perniagaan industri yang menguncup. Jadi therefore what can be done to ensure the survival of the former employees?
I think for the workers, a lot of them, from what I know, have also repurpose themselves into the digital economy, macam Grab or Food Panda, and and while it's not a replacement, probably I would guesstimate maybe only 50% of the former gaji, but as the industry comes back, like for us this month, the Waterfront Hotel, we are almost back to full staff. So, and our problem now is actually finding right staff, and for the most part, I think the most important is employers need to understand that we are dealing with fellow Sarawakians. We must have compassion to make sure that we look after our fellow Sarawakians, to make sure that they can survive, because they also have families, And I think this crisis, we need to work together, bersama-sama, make sure that we try as much as possible within our means to look after each other. I think if everybody tries to do that, because the government is doing that, the government is trying. Sarawak government, sama federal government is trying to help us. And that is something that we should appreciate, I think the other thing that should be mentioned also is our stable state government. We should not take that for granted, All of us, Sarawakians, need to make sure that, we maintain this stable state government for the benefit for all Sarawakians.
Because that's actually very important to have
very important
political stable.
Yes.
Okay, speaking about aids from the government, whether it's from the state or from the federal government, maybe Dato' can share with us among what help or initiative did the government actually provide or give to the hotel industries?
I think there has not been anything specific to the hotel industry. We talk about federal first. The banking sector has been very generous with moratoriums. In particular, our own bank, SME Bank, which is owned by the federal government, they've given us an extended moratorium. So it has allowed us to ensure our survival, to make sure that we can survive until the middle of next year. And we are optimistic going forward. The other thing is also, I'm aware with Ministry of Tourism Malaysia under YB Dato' Nancy, they have given a lot of aid to small retailers and different companies that are inside the tourism industry. And I've known, we have some of our tenants who have actually received aid. So, to the Minister of Tourism, thank you very much. I think this is something that should be appreciated. At the same time, the state Minister of Tourism, YB Karim, has also been, macam fighter,
Yeah.
always, never give up, fight.
He's been fighting any space can go.
Yes, and I think that he's been an inspiration to all of us.
Yep,
At first, we thought he was crazy, but we later realized that, look, that is the way to go. We must continue to fight.
Yep.
And if we fight together, we will win.
Yeah, because we all have to be together in this.
Yes.
Okay, speaking about the COVID-19 outbreak, we know most hotels in Kuching turned into a quarantine center, except the Waterfront Hotel. Can we know why is that?
One of the reasons we did an assessment with our staff, some shareholders. What we noticed was semua hotel sudah jadi quarantine center. Kalau if we also follow, not that we don't want, but if we follow, we still now for business, right? There's a lot of people who travel into Kuching for business. There is still a lot from Miri, from Cebu, from Bintulu.
Yeah.
And all our clients, our regular clients, tell us, hey, please, Steve, do not convert because we want a hotel in the city center to stay.
Yeah.
I think the other hotel that is not a quarantine hotel is a Boulevard, and they also maintain their status as a non-quarantine.
Imperial Hotel.
Imperial Hotel,
Yeah,
yes.
I think they are now.
They are now
Yeah, they
also.
are, yeah.
Oh, so there is no hotels without quarantine. So imagine if you come to Kuching, tak ada tempat, you can stay. So
that's one of the reasons why.
One of the reasons we wanted to provide that alternative to others, not because we are concerned. We're not concerned with having a hotel as a quarantine center.
Yep.
But more to provide a service.
Yes.
And again, diversity and the ecosystem must be preserved. Yeah.
Okey, banyak perkongsian
Betul.
Dato'. Banyak yang kita
Itu
dapat.
yang sebabnya dia tak nak buka untuk pusat kuarantin
Kan.
je. Kalau tak boleh pergi lah ni.
Jadi kita akan berehat sebentar. Kita akan kembali selepas ini lagi bersama dengan Dato' Ng, pengarah Dato' Steve Ng, pengarah urusan The Waterfront Hotel Kuching. Jangan ke mana-mana. Jumpa selepas ini.
Hydrogen is one of nature's most abundant elements on Earth. It's not only odorless, colorless, non-toxic, it exists in great amount in water. It's also a highly efficient fuel. The use of hydrogen for clean energy is not a new phenomenon. In countries such as Norway, Germany, China, Japan, and Korea, hydrogen energy is increasingly applied for domestic use, such as in fuel cell-powered electric cars, buses, and power plants. For decades, studies have been done around the world in developing the cost-effective use of hydrogen as a sustainable alternative fuel. In Sarawak, we are blessed with an abundance of water, ranging from rivers to dams, which are great sources of water for efficient production of hydrogen. At the hydrogen production plant, hydrogen is extracted from water through a process of electrolysis, which separates hydrogen from oxygen in the water. This extracted hydrogen is then stored as hydrogen fuel. When used to generate power in fuel cell electric vehicles, FCEV, the hydrogen fuel is supplied into a device where electrochemical reaction happens. This device is called a fuel cell. In the fuel cell, the chemical process happens, combining hydrogen with oxygen. This combination results in an electrical current. Unlike fossil fuel, which is limited in amount and contributes to pollution, hydrogen is just the opposite. As it is extracted from water and it ends in the form of water, hydrogen is a great renewable source of clean energy for a sustainable future. The Integrated Hydrogen Production Plant and Refueling Stations initiatives in Sarawak are the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. This is part of the groundwork of Sarawak government's plan to chart out an ecosystem for hydrogen economy. It eventually will pave the way for advancing the sustainable and renewable energy sector in Sarawak. As more and more countries around the world develop their hydrogen economies, and by the time world demand accelerates in years to come, Sarawak will already be well positioned at the forefront as a regional and global exporter of this clean energy. Now is the best time to embark on this journey to build our hydrogen economy. Hydrogen, the fuel of the future.
Kembali lagi bersama dengan kami dalam Sejahtera Asia. Terima kasih kepada anda yang masih lagi setia bersama dengan kami. Dan tetamu kita pada pagi ini masih lagi bersama dengan Datuk Steve Ng, Pengarah Urusan The Waterfront Hotel Kuching. So, Datuk Steve, okay.
Yes.
Recently, under the leadership of the Right Honourable Chief Minister, he has emphasised on digital economy. So, maybe Datuk can share as an industry player, how does the digital economy actually affects the industry?
I think the digital economy is something that's very real. My experience in the last couple of years is a lot of people are very skeptical about the digital economy. But if you look at what is happening worldwide, everything is going that way. And what the Chief Minister, our Right Honourable Chief Minister, is trying to do is make sure we in Sarawak are not left behind. I personally am very, very optimistic, and I would definitely hope I can play a part and be one of the players in that digital economy, whether it is transforming the hotel industry. We've got an initiative ongoing. Hopefully, it will bear fruit in 2021 to actually make the hotel more competitive through digital initiatives. So these are things that what I see. And if you look at macam Grab and macam Food Panda, you know, these have created new industries within even Kuching, for example.
Yep.
So the digital economy is very important. I think why I think Yang Amat Berhormat is excited about the digitalization and digital economy is because it will afford many people a way to enhance their livelihood. And I think that's one thing about the state government that I noticed, that he wants to make sure everybody is able to share in the wealth of the state. Bukan tauke saja, you know. And I think that's something that's very, very commendable. And I hope that, we are able, and all of us should try our best to maybe bring back Sarawakians to Sarawak who are working in Singapore or KL to help us continue to build and support the state government in the digital initiatives.
Okay, speaking again about digital economy, what the public sees is only probably e-wallets. Like we have the Sarawak Pay.
Yes.
But for you as industry player, what actually is the digital economy to you as an industry player?
For me, as an industry player, what is important is what will make my business better? What will make it more competitive? If you are going digital just for the sake of going digital, it does not make sense, right? So, for example, if you become a Grab driver, and you can earn 5,000 a month, of course, that transforms your life, right? For me as a hotel operator, if I can take on a digital initiative that can lower my cost by $500,000, for example, or 5% or 7% of my gross income, that is very significant, and I can repurpose the people that are affected by the digitalization of certain services within a hotel, management services. I can use them for other purpose, right? So I can maximize my efficiency. So for industry players, and this goes not only for the hotel industry, it goes for all industries. It must make economic sense, right?
Itu yang kita nak sebenarnya, John, sebab kita tahu kita banyak lagi negara Malaysia, rakyat Malaysia ni sebenarnya bekerja di luar negara. Jadi apabila adanya pendigitalan ekonomi dan juga apa-apa inisiatif yang dilakukan oleh kerajaan ini menyebabkan rakyat Malaysia yang bekerja di luar negara ingin pulang ke negara sendiri. Bak kata orang, hujan emas di negara sendiri, hujan batu di negeri orang kata macam tu. Jadi itulah yang sebenarnya bagus ya. Tapi nak tahu juga pendapat anda dalam sektor perhotelan, sebab kita tahu yang kempen pelancongan domestik perlu dirancangkan semula susulan kerajaan membenarkan rakyat melancong di dalam negara. Adakah anda sebenarnya setuju ataupun agak bimbang dengan keadaan sekarang ini?
I definitely endorse, all these initiatives, because these initiatives like Siasat Talk and like the federal initiatives, these will all benefit us as an industry. And what we hope, my hope is that, now you see all our resorts like macam Sematan, weekends are fully booked, right? What I hope is after COVID is over, that we will be able to build these assets to become better, so that they will also indirectly benefit us. Because let's say, for example, somebody flies from Singapore to Kuching, they go to Sematan for the weekend, right? When they come back to Kuching, likely they will stay 1 or 2 nights. They're not just going to pass through and just go straight, right? Or Mulu, for the example. So I think connectivity is important, but I think we hope that after COVID, there will be a resetting of the industry. Certain sectors will be affected. But if the industry players are proactive and they are observant and continue to monitor the changes and adapt to the changes, I think we should be all okay.
Rasanya tak ada masalah untuk teruskan sebenarnya. Hanya kita kena berdepan, maksudnya kita kena praktikkan saja SOP yang telah diberikan.
Okay, banyak dikongsikan oleh Datuk. Selepas ini lagi kita nak bincangkan lebih mengenai pelancongan domestik ataupun travel bubble di antara zon hijau. Semuanya selepas ini, teruskan bersama dengan kami hanya dalam Sejahtera Asia.
Kita semua bijak di bumi yang sama. Kita menjunjung langit yang sama. Berjalan di atas tanah yang sama. Tanah bertuah yang telah banyak menabur bakti kepada kita. Akhirnya di mana-mana lah kita di Malaysia ini. Di kafe atau di mana-mana tempat kunci pedalaman ataupun juga di Kuala Lumpur, Kota Raya, Bandaraya. Malaysia ini telah lalui pelbagai cabaran, tapi kali ini sangat berbeza lah. Seluruh dunia terkesan akibat dari pandemik ini. Disebabkan itu oleh pandemik ini juga ekonomi negara turut terjejas kan. Jadi sekarang adalah masa terbaik untuk semua rakyat berbelanja di dalam negara sendiri dan beli produk tempatan. Kita boleh contohi di Kapit tadi. Ekonomi mereka subur, sihat disebabkan masyarakat Kapit hanya membeli, menyokong barangan kedai-kedai di Kapit. Barang-barang kita bukannya tidak bagus, bukannya tak ada kualiti, memang kualiti pun tinggi. Banyak barang kita itu barang baik. Saya percaya ini bukan kali pertama dan juga bukan kali terakhir rakyat bersatu membantu negara. Kempen beli barangan Malaysia ini setiap tahun ada, tetapi tahun ini ia membawa makna yang lebih besar, yang berlainan. Kerana ia bukan sahaja kempen membeli, tetapi ia adalah seruan untuk kita semua untuk bersama membantu menjana ekonomi kita semula. Dan kalau bukan kita, siapa lagi?
Kembali lagi bersama dengan kami dalam Sejahtera Asia. Terima kasih sekali lagi kami ucapkan kepada anda yang masih lagi setia bersama dengan kami. Dan masih lagi tetamu kita, Datuk Steve Ng, Pengarah Urusan The Waterfront Hotel Kuching. So Datuk, now we've been seeing countries paling dekat Singapore
Right.
dah pun bercakap mengenai travel bubble antara zon hijau, negara yang zon hijau. Jadi maybe Datuk can share what are your views about this travel within green zones or green countries.
I think the travel within the green zones is a welcome initiative. But I think what's more exciting is vaccine passports. I think Singapore and Malaysia are exploring, and other countries, of course, exploring the use of vaccine passports. So, for example, imagine you are vaccinated and you have your biometrics attached to the certificate. You have your passport. You sampai Singapore, for example, and or Singaporean sampai Kuching, they show you the vaccine certificate and they can be verified by biometrics. And again, that's a digital economy coming into play, where you can verify a person's identity beyond doubt. And their country will certify that this vaccine certificate is real, bukan fake. And then other countries will recognize that, and there are reciprocal arrangements. I'm sure our Menteri, YB Nancy, would be looking at this, because this has possibilities of opening up the country and normalizing tourism very quickly. Because I think Semenanjung side, like for example KL, is quite badly affected, as we understand.
Okay, that is about country. Okay, maybe I want to know about travel within interstates, like within the green zones, the whole of Malaysia. But you see the situation in Sarawak, SDMC is actually taking care of the state. So do you think this is a huge effect towards the industry in Sarawak?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because as what I said earlier, when the cases drop because of the strict controls imposed by SDMC, we see business normalizing very quickly. As soon as the cases spike, you see people react negatively and they don't go out, and they restrict their travel, they minimize the travel. So, you know, SDMC has a huge effect on the economy. In tourism especially.
So, but we all understand that there's a reason why do they have to do that. It's of course to protect the people and the state. So moving on for 2021.
So we will enter the year 2021. So what is among the planning done in 2021?
So that, your harapan or your strategy.
Strategy going forward, I think. For the next 3 months, the first 3 months of 2021 will be just observing and reacting and managing as per what we've been doing so far. Because as you know, with the vaccine, I mean, our Sarawak government has been kind enough to volunteer Yang Amat Berhormat to give everybody free vaccine when it's available. Hopefully, we will be first in line.
Hopefully,
But I think to be reasonable, I think second quarter would be when you can expect to get the vaccine. So in the first quarter, it will be reacting, depending on cases going up and down. And this is something that, as I said, we have full confidence in SDMC. So the first quarter is, that is our strategy. The second quarter, we have to look at how to accelerate the normalization of the business. In our particular case, in Kuching, I think we can get back to normal by July. And from July on, I think there will be a backlog, or how will you say, when people say they go shopping, they go revenge shopping, there will be a lot of revenge traveling, you know. People want to go and, you know, get out, you know. We see that actually right now, people coming to stay in the hotel for staycation and all that, because there's no place to go, right? You know, and you stay home after a while, you also go crazy, right? So we are looking at different programs for the second half of the year, where we will do a lot of promotions together with the mall and together with other tourism players, and of course working very closely with Tourism Sarawak, and depending on the programs presented by Tourism Malaysia, we will be working closely with them also on that. So I think strategy-wise, it's still evolving,
Yeah.
but it will become very clear by around April, May of this year, of 2021.
Oh, banyak planning ni Ada fasa-fasa dia tu
ya,
John.
harus.
Mesti.
Kita harap yang terbaik untuk industri ini dan terutamanya untuk semua rakyat, dan kita sebab mesti everyone is miss to travel.
Mesti.
Rindu.
Yes.
So Datuk Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you
kerana
very
bersama
much
dengan
for
kami
having
dalam
me.
Sejahtera
Thank
Asia
you.
for
Thank
the
you.
1 hour.
Yep.
Banyak perkongsian, and I think our penonton pun memang banyak input yang mereka dapati oleh Datuk Steve Ng, pengarah urusan The Waterfront Hotel Kuching. Terima kasih sekali lagi.
Thank you.
Baiklah, kepada anda sampai di sini saja siaran kita untuk hari ini. Terima kasih kepada anda yang menonton kami. Jangan lupa temu janji kita esok hari lagi dalam Sejahtera Asia pukul 7.30 pagi. Jadi saya Jonathan Ding
Dan saya Jessica John.
Kita jumpa esok hanya dalam Sejahtera
Sejahtera
Asia.
Asia.
Daripada
Daripada
inspirasi,
kami cetuskan inovasi.
Jumpa esok. Bye.
I used to think I already knew so much about Sarawak. A world where I am one with nature. Having mixed parentage, I am connected to two cultures at once. Kami bangga jadi anak Sarawak. Bumi Kenyalang, kaya budaya. Its food, its spices. We're in the Highland farms to make traditional rice, snack. Its people and its craft are unlike no other. Join me in my journey of exploring Sarawak's uniqueness, where it is rich with artisans whose skilled hands worked hard on their crafts, either in the comfort of their homes or in the Highland farms. Every thread, every piece, and every design, so unique and beautiful, portraying our strong identity, a Wana-Wani Sarawak. I took my seat and, this aroma of my favorite drink. This smoky smell from the burning pan, the sizzling oil, all so familiar and calming. Unforgettable palate delights that blend traditional ingredients with modern trends. Sarawak dishes are where passion is served on a plate. Some recipes are timeless, yet versatile when blended with modern touch, making me realize even more how deeply Sarawakian I am, inside out. That I favor nasi arok and ikan terubok over macaroni and cheese. I don't have to travel far to taste five-star cuisine. They're all here in my home. So whether it's fashion or food, I take pride in this precious thing I call my heritage.